Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the E25. It's a Tier 7 German premium tank destroyer. It's located on the defending spawn of Redshire Assault under the command of BAKED123456 of the Roger clan. Game on! Well, the Cockroaches is more commonly known 75mm main gun, which is capable of doing 135 alpha, 150mm pen with standard ammo. With the APCR, it's up to 194mm. Okay, it's a very sneaky little tank destroyer, this one. And, well, he's defending, so that means he's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting to take out the enemy tanks. Tier 8 game with Tier 7 tanks in it, or Tier 6 tanks, actually. He's not fired at the moment because he's actually spotting for his team while he's doing this. But he does have really good cameras. You can see he was able to get shots on some of those tanks because he was double bushed. They couldn't see him at all. Now, Baker sent us in 2 replays. In fact, actually, cheeky really, because I actually found his first one. And then, luckily, there's a second replay, both featuring the E25. Which, of course, as you know, is an Entwicklung tank. That's the E-Series, the tank series of 6 designs to making German tanks much easier and use standard materials, so they would actually use the same parts for multiple different tanks. Yes, they were much better than the standard tanks, but they were actually just easier to make. That's what they were after. Luckily for us, none of the E-Series designs actually got put into production. So he's got his first kill, taken out the Firefly. What's next? Well, from this position at the moment, inside the cap, he's actually quite dominant because he can see a lot of the enemy. The enemy can't see him. You can see he's got 3 marks of excellence on the barrel, and that means he's been playing the E25 quite a lot in the game. That's a great deal. You'd have to get a 3 mark in this one, because remember, the standard's very high. Loads of people have bought this tank destroyer, even though it's a expensive one to get and difficult to get. He is actually very, very good at it. Very fast reload time as well. Standard reload 2.88 seconds. He's got 2.36, and he's got his third kill. Second kill, sorry. KV2 shooting between the buildings there. Now, this thing is a bit lackluster when it comes to penetration, which is why a lot of players will actually use APCR to beef up the pen. You don't get a huge amount of ammo either, which is a bit of a problem. 60 rounds of ammo. I've seen many E25 battles where the players actually run out of ammo, and in fact they've had to start ramming the enemy just to get kills. Just recently we saw an E25 game where they had no ammo left and they had to deal with 2 Artys, which was actually quite funny in the end because, of course, the Artys nailed him. They did get him because they were working as a pair, and both of them were M44s. But the thing is that this tank destroyer, even without ammo, is still quite deadly. It doesn't have a huge amount of hit points to play with as well. You only get 830. So you can't afford to ram too many tanks before you actually run out of ammo. It's actually supposed to be a TD stroke reconnaissance tank. It's not supposed to be a light tank at all. That was the idea, to have a reconnaissance tank that could quickly go unspotted by the enemy, find out where the enemy was. Oh, he's got so close to that AMD, he has to take him out, because otherwise he's going to get spotted anyway. And in fact, actually, he almost got taken out by the Jagdpanzer IV, but he got taken out by one of our teammates. So we avoided getting absolutely knackered there. Is it the... yes, I think it was the Jagdpanzer IV. So, we've still got some enemy tanks to deal with, though. Okay, the T25AT is being a bit of a problem because it's got heavy armour at the front of the vehicle. But he does take it out. He hits the weak spot, actually. He went for the cupola and he got it. It's super accurate at long range. But what's really awful about this tank for the enemies is it's so difficult to see. Even while it's on the move, it has tremendous camo rating. And yeah, so the enemies, sometimes they just don't spot it and it's too late and they get taken out. I think we've got him by the oh, I think, no, he's looking at us at the moment. I think he is, but he's going for the hull anyway, because of course he can pen the hull fairly easily. He can't pen the turret very easily, and he didn't get the kill there, so he's still only got 4. Trying to get the enemy Arty as he's on the move. He can't see the outline, so obviously he couldn't fire. There's only 5 enemies left. 2 Arty, tank destroyer, a heavy and a medium G-Saw. It's one of the lights. I fired just slightly to the right. Yes, that's it. He's got it. There's a rock there, which is actually... Oh, and the kill goes to our GW Panther. So... Oh, crumbs. Yeah, be careful, because that has caught a lot of people out. You can actually accidentally get wiped out. Oh, it puts one into the KV2, but he did get hit in return. But he's got his 5th kill, so he's well on for a top gun here. Now, he's letting the Mutz go first. As far as we know, the SU-8 has gone up near the Zeppelin, but we can't be absolutely certain. He's selecting the HE rounds, because of course that would be quicker to kill the SU-8. Because of course it's got no armour. Not really. Oh, the enemy SU-130PM has gone down, so it's only 2 Artys left. They've got the SU-8 and the S-51, and there's the SU-8 who's actually to the north now. And we have platooned with the 7032, which means we could end up... Oh! Well, he did get shotgunned, but the S-51 is now reloaded and he goes down. That is a top gun. Now it's just the SU-8. Now, can we get a Pascucci's? I'm sure his teammates would let him get it, because, of course, he wants that Pascucci's. He's got both. And that's it! He's done it! He's won the game! And look at the damage that was done to his E25. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for BAKED123456 of the Roger clan in the E25. He managed to get a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 8. He got a Pascucci's for killing both enemy Artys in the game, a brothers in arms because he actually platooned with somebody else who had at least 3 kills, the 7032. He got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and he got a top gun for getting at least 6 kills. In fact, he ended up with 7 in the end. In fact, you have to scroll the page to see all the damage he did. His win rate was 10,313, which is Super Unicum standard and a lot more. Let's have a look at team score. Highest damage, 3,512 hit points of damage, but the nearest player to him was actually the SU-130PM on the enemy team with 3,487. So good job he did get those last kills, because otherwise he would have been in trouble, because he possibly would have lost the high caliber to the enemy team. Third place was his platoon mate. 3,119 hit points went to the Object 7032 in the game. He also picked up Brothers in Arms and Steel Wolves, so he got 2 for blocking the most damage in the game. When it came to kills, yes, it's baked. He got 7 kills in the game. 3 kills went to the 7032 and to the SU-130PM. And when it came to baked XP, base XP, he's the only one who got over 1,000 base with 1,462 in this game. 938 went to his platoon mate, the 7032, and 879 went to the Panzer 58 Mutz, the Swiss tank. Yes, the chocolate tank. Patrol duty went to that guy as well. He fired 42 rounds, so he still had 18 rounds left at the end of the game. Normally, E25 drivers, they do run out of ammo fairly frequently. 33 direct hits on the enemy, 28 penetrations, and 1 splash. Damage of 3,512 hit points, of which 1,895 were at more than 300 meters. A lot of those shots were actually fired from the cap area, or just to the east of the cap area, because he was right up on that mount. Very good position, actually, because he could shoot at double bush tanks whenever they spotted it, or if tanks were too far away, he could even shoot at those anyway, simply because they just couldn't see him. 3 hits received, one of which was a non-penetration, 2 hits by way of splash, one of those from the KB2, of course, which came around this corner and derped him for quite a lot of hit points. And he also got 3 enemy vehicles spotted, 10 enemy vehicles engaged, 7 killed, and 1,061 hit points of spotting assist in that game. On a premium count, he actually made a profit of 27,423 credits from that game. Yes, ammunition costs were quite high because he did use some premium ammo to get the extra pen. He also picked up 2,632 experience points as well, but it was a very good game. It took place, actually, this is the recent one. I'm looking at this now. This is 20th of September, which was yesterday. But he has sent in another replay, so we'll watch that one afterwards. Let's have a quick look at the armor of this thing. Looking at it in the collision model, you can see that the frontal armor is virtually non-existent, 50mm, but it's angled in such a way as to give you 70mm. The mantlet's quite strong. Yes, that's 50mm and 50mm, so 120 actually after the angling. The sides of the vehicle are fairly thin, 30mm, and although it's angled, it's only giving you 35. And at the rear of the vehicle, again, 30mm, giving you just basically 30 because it's a bit slab-sided. The roof of the vehicle is only 20mm. Yes, they skimped on the armor on top, which means any Arty player, yeah, feel free to put a shell right on top of him. You're more than likely going to go straight through. It does have a cupola, which is 30mm. And if you are in a face-to-face or face-hugging them, you can aim for that cupola because your shell should go straight through. Lower plate, again, 50mm, well angled, giving you 97, nearly 100 overall. It's a very thinly armored vehicle. If you put a collision model, if it's just the live model rather, just looking at the 75mm rounds that this thing fires, you can see just about anywhere on the vehicle is going to get penned. If you angle slightly, it will improve your armor, but then you'll obviously expose your side of your vehicle, which is actually very weak. So best not to angle if you can help it. And the arc, well, it's 12 degrees either side of the center line. So 24 degrees arc overall, but this thing does traverse very, very quickly. And sometimes you have to worry because if you might over traverse as you're spinning round and then obviously have to correct it and come back to get the target in line up. So, yes, that's the armor. Let's hope. Here's the module layout, and we can see that the ammo rack is actually exposed on the left-hand side of the vehicle, lower plate, and also on the side of the vehicle on the right-hand side. We've got the driver with the viewport there. There's the gunner with the periscope, and directly behind him is actually the loader. Normally, it's the commander that sits behind the gunner, directing him where to shoot next. But in actual fact, the loader has to be behind the gunner because he's got to feed the 75mm rounds that are out of this rack and into the breech. And of course, the commander's on the left-hand side of the vehicle because he's got his own periscope to actually look for the enemy targets, but he's also got the radio alongside him to operate that to communicate with other vehicles. So the idea of the Entwicklung series in this sense was to have a deep store of 75mm shells directly in front of the commander, but the loader will be operating off the ready rack, which is actually in the side of the vehicle. Now, if you want to get a big bang, I suppose the best place to actually hit is either the front left-hand corner of the lower plate, or to go for the side of the vehicle on the right-hand side. And of course, if you miss that, you're more than likely going to connect with the front, fuel tanks that are either side of the main engine. So yes, everything in the crew compartment, as you can see here, is in the front 2/3 of the vehicle, and the rear end is, of course, the fuel tanks and the engine, and of course, the transmissions directly at the rear of the vehicle as well. So if you're aiming for the vehicle, try to avoid the tracks area. You don't want to auto aim because that will actually hit the tracks area. Ideally, you want to aim for the top of the vehicle, just above the tracks, and try and get anything in this area because that might make the thing go bang or set it on fire. And that's where everything is in the E25. So let's have a look at the second replay sent in by BAKED123456. The second replay is on Westfield Encounter, and he's on the West Spawn. Game on. You can see there's not much to aim for if you're trying to hit the top of the vehicle. It's got the same kind of overlapping wheels. The actual term for that is now. That's terrible. I should remember these things. But Schachtel Laufwerk, I think is the name. Schachtel Laufwerk? Well, it may be that anyway, but I think that's the type of overlapping suspension system which they developed for some of the... Well, it was developed for the Tiger, but I think you see it on quite a few of the later tanks, such as the Panther. That actually has tractile valve for it as well. Okay, right, well, it actually does have a top speed of 65 kilometers an hour, this little tank. It's got a Maybach 12-cylinder engine, and the design originally was actually designed by the same people who developed the Hetzer, Argos, and they actually built, according to the records, they built 5 of them at Alket. Now, also says in the records they have no prototypes. So you've got to wonder if there were 5 vehicles that were used or destroyed, but the Soviets never saw them, so if they never had any, then maybe the E-25 was just on paper and they regretted that they didn't put it into operation. Well, Bakes decided that he's actually going to go up the along the south edge of the map and try and get into the corner. Because, of course, with the stealth of this vehicle, you should be able to pump shells into the enemy tank if they try to go round the outside. Well, he's managed to sneak in without getting spotted. Oh no, careful there, because there's rocks, and yeah, you have to be careful going that corner. And again, he's slowing down because he doesn't want to expose himself or run into one of the enemy tanks. In fact, he has run into an enemy tank. EBR Hotchkiss directly up ahead, who doesn't know who's hitting him. Well, he does know who, but he just can't see where Baked is. And the enemy's capping, but that's a bad move because obviously from this side of the hill, Baked can do a lot of damage on the enemy if he can spot the cap. Okay, another enemy tank spotted, Super Hellcat. He's going to try and use his use that shot. 8 degrees of gun depression, by the way, as well. And the Super Hellcat's pulled back a bit, and it looks like one of our Arty managed to get a hit. Okay, the Super Hellcat's pulled back a little further back. Now from here we can see the cap and the P-43 too. Oh, bounced off, didn't pen at all. Well, it didn't say bounce, but it said not penetrated. Okay, no signs of that Super Hellcat. Of course, there is a Liss on the other side of the battlefield. We can shoot him. Nope, missed with the first one. Went in front of the gun matlet. That went through the side. It's just that you peck the enemy to death with this gun. It's only a 75mm and it's up against tanks with much bigger guns. He's starting to do some damage. Oh, that was aimed for the engine bay. Didn't quite get it. And I think that hit an obstruction, which is the wreck. Now that one hit home. 1 more to kill him. No, 2 more to kill him, sorry. There's 1. Oh, he got the kill. He actually ended up with 142 hit points for the last shot. And our Eunice is actually countering that Super Hellcat if he's still there. Hasn't found him yet. Okay, now, what can we see? Well, the enemy seems to have dominated the field up in the heavy area. We have got 3 players in the cap. And now we've got a Lorraine 40 ton to deal with. Now we should be able to penetrate him because he's got very, very thin armor, but he does have a 4-shot 100mm main gun. Okay, and the Lorraine's going after our Udes, and he has to engage this guy, whether he likes it or not. Falls back to avoid the 100mm rounds. Unfortunately, that means that the Udes is now taking all of the damage. He did take care of the Lorraine though, and we're getting shots into the SMV-CC56, and he's attacking the units on the other side. Oh, 1 more shot to kill the guy. No, SU-100M1. Our units on this side of the valley has actually done rather well because he killed both of the opponents that came up to meet him. Okay, so we can now play Overwatch on the cap area, even if the enemy does try to come for us. They've got two heavies down in the valley on the west side of the map, an IS-3A and a BZ, but look at this. Here we go, 100M1 is about to be shredded. He's gone. SMV-CC67 is a one-shot, and I think our Udas is probably going to have him. Of course, it's the one of our guys who's actually was blocking the cap, and now the SMV-CC67 is capping. And unfortunately, we just lost the T29 to their SMV-CC67. The BZ just killed our AMX AC46. And you can see Bake's changed position so he can take on these heavies down the other end of the valley. Okay, our Udas is in the meanwhile attacking the Arty to the north. And he's taken, I think... Oh, here's the IS-3. Well, we got rid of one of the enemy Artys, the S51. The M12's next. Oh! The M12 just took out our Udas. So we've still got an Arty to the north of us. Okay, BZ's a one-shot. Didn't get it there. Close, close. Oh! Just got him. That shot must have gone through the roof. Okay, we still have somebody capping. It's the SMV-CC67. And we need to get in there because if he's joined by the T25-2, it could cap out very, very quickly. The IS-3 is still in play, but only minor hit points. We're the last one alive on our team. And I think there's a possible Kolobanov. I'm not sure if there is a Kolobanov available to us. Okay, we just need to get that. We've loaded the premium rounds just in case. Just in case the SMV-CC67 is not showing us a weak spot. Oh, tree went down directly in front of us. There's two in the cap. And the T25-2 knows we're here. Proximity. We kill the one that was capping the most. One round goes in on T25-2. We're being attacked by the M12 as well. You see the way that this one traverses. Yep, got him. We're now capping, but we're not going to continue because I think the Artys has to die now. The IS-3A appears to be still unspotted, so we're going to leave him and move to find out where the M12 went. And I think he wants to come down from this corner and see if he can spot the M12 before he has to make a run on that corner. There he is. Been found. Oh, he's firing the APCR. He should be firing the HE. It's an open SPG. And one more. Oh, he didn't get it. Oh, that one. He's aiming. Okay, so he's got that one. Now he's got a top gun. Only problem is the IS-3A knows where we are, and we don't know where he is. He's got a 122mm gun, we've only got a 75mm, but the good news is that he's a one-shot. At least as far as I can make out as one-shot. If he's not a one-shot, he's a two-shot, and he's in the cap. He's decided to draw us to him, because he knows how sneaky this tank destroyer is. He wants us up close and personal so that he can deliver a 122mm round into us. It probably would kill us outright because he's got a 390 alpha. We've only got 318 hit points left. Now the team, the AMX AC46, has just told us he's only 113 hit points, which means he is a one-shot for us for sure. He says my reload's faster than his intra-clip. That's true as well. He can definitely put a round in faster, put two rounds in faster than the IS-3 can get two rounds in. But he could get one round in that wipes us out with one shot. Just have to hope that we see him before he sees us. Remember, as soon as we get close, it's a proximity spot. That's why he slowed down to approach it gently. He doesn't know where the IS-3A is, and I think he's going to be on this side of the cap, and I think that's what Bake thinks as well. He's hiding behind that. Yes, he is there. Yep, and he knows where we are. He knows where we are. He's trying to counter us by getting into cover. But he's moving, and I'm not sure if he's got his gun pointing in our direction. There's so many wrecks in the cap, and most of them were caused by bait. He took most of them out. Okay, so he's disengaging. Oh, crumbs. He actually got air there. He actually took off. Now, he hasn't got too much time to play with, but as I said, 65 kilometers an hour, he can move about the battlefield fairly quickly. And I think what he's trying to do is go around the IS-3 and approach him from his rear. The IS-3 is probably going to be looking in this general direction, and therefore he might miss us when we come in behind him. Still got over a minute to go. We're not spotted because, of course, this thing has tremendous camo qualities. It's only about the height of a human. It's not particularly big. In fact, I think the Stugs were designed to be actually slightly bigger because, of course, they were made from the Panther III, whereas this was a unique design based on the Hetzer, but it was unique. How could it be unique if it's based on the Hetzer? Well, what I mean is that it took some of the design cues from the Hetzer, but it was a unique design overall. Now, he doesn't know where we are now. He has no clue. We're outside his spotting range, 16 seconds to go. He has to move. He can't stay any longer. He needs to go in, find the target, and shoot him. Oh, countering. Oh, he missed him. But now he can out-maneuver him, and yes, wins the game with a close-up shot. Let's see that again. Okay. Now, spots the enemy. There he is. Over, corrects, and then turns around, shoots right into his side. He can traverse faster than the IS-3A can, and he won the game for his team. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for BAKED123456 of the Roger clan in the E25. He managed to get a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 5 exactly. He also picked up a DeLanglades medal, which is fairly rare, and that's for taking out at least 4 enemy tanks whilst they're trying to capture the cap in one battle. And yes, he strewn wrecks all over that cap circle. He did get a Kolobanov's medal out of that one. He was 1 against 5 the last time the Unis was killed when he took on the M12. He got a defender medal for resetting the cap when there was at least 70 defense points. And he also got a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills in the game. He ended up with 7 at the end. And as I say, you have to scroll the page to see all the targets he actually hit in that game. Very well done. His win rate, 9,957, which is Super Unicum and a lot more. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, the highest damage in this game actually goes to the SMV-CC67 on the enemy team. He picked up a high caliber for 3,583 hit points of damage, just beating Baked, who had 3,455. So I think he was a bit disappointed he missed out on the high caliber, but he won the game in the end. And when it came to kills, he got the highest number of those, 7. 3 kills went to the IS-3A, and 2 kills went to the Emil-1. The Unis 14 5s on both of them on his team, and also on the enemy team to the SMV-CC67, the BZ-176, the IS-22, and also the KV-5. When it came to base XP, he got that one. So he's got 2 out of 3 yet again. And he got 1,376, the only player to get over 1,000 base in the game. 889 went to the Emil-1. And then 866 went to Yuda's 14-5. That was the guy who took on the Lorraine 40-ton tank, the Super Hellcat. And then obviously took out the S51, but got killed by the M12 in the end. Baked fired 49 rounds in this game, so he only had 11 left at the end of the game. He had 41 direct hits on the enemy, but only 26 penetrations. I think that's because he was shooting a lot at long range, and you do lose penetration as the shell flies further. You got 5 splashes as well because he did use HE. 3,455 hit points, of which 1,785 were at more than 300 meters. So a fair amount of damage was done at long range. 2 hits received, both penetrating shots, I'm afraid, yes. And 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 7 killed, 200 hit points of damage assistance. And he got 3 capture points and 100 defense points. In fact, actually more than 100, because of course he reset the cap multiple times. On a premium account, he only made 3,910 credits, and the reason for that is the ammo. He did spend a lot of APCR, and he fluffed his shot right at the end. I think it was just so nervous, so hyped up at that last shot that he actually overcorrected and missed the IS-3A. But the thing was, that it was a good job he did, because the guy was looking towards him, and of course he had that pink nose right in front of him, and of course then the shell was gonna connect. If it hit the IS-3A, it probably would have bounced off, but as it is, he managed to get close, turn, traverse, and then get the guy right in the side where it was nice and weak, and the 75mm APCR would go straight through him. So only 3,910 credits profit, but he did get 25 bonds, and he took away 2,477 experience points altogether. Wow, that was an epic ending. He's totally right about that. But another ace tanker, Kolobanovs, and Delanglades. Yes, I think I actually put these the right way round, although date-wise they're the wrong way round. But this is the better game of the two, I think, because when it come down to it, at the end, it was up between him and the IS-3A. And yes, both of them could have wiped out the other with just one shot. I hope you enjoyed both of those replays. The first one, of course, on Redshire, where he did so well, and then the follow-up one on Westfield. If you did, please give the video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.